What is up, everyone? Welcome to the FPL Gameweek 11 podcast. My name is Ryan, and welcome to the Football Chatbox. And today, I'm joined by a very special guest. I've got him on a game week loan, you could say, from the FPL SideNet podcast. That is FPL Point Break. Andrew, how are you doing?
Yeah, good man, good. Not the best game week for me, but I'm looking forward to game week 11 now, I guess.
Indeed. I mean, for me, also not the best of game weeks after a red arrow. But then again, on a wild card, is it really a wild card if you don't get a red arrow on the wild card week itself?
Yeah, that's right. Well, you don't judge a wild card on the first week anyway, so don't
Exactly.
stress.
Yeah, so let's hope for like a few more weeks after this in terms of greens, but we'll see. But we're gonna discuss all of like game week 11, and we'll discuss our teams at the end as well. And shout out to everyone who's in the chat as well. We can see FPL Mez, who's doing really great stuff on her channel as well. So go check that out as well. But welcome, Mira. And yeah, if you're new, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, because it all helps the YouTube algorithm. And let's get started. So to start off with, I've got on the hop on, hop off chart from Lego Mane FPL to kind of give us an idea of like where the fixtures are in terms of which teams to target at which brackets. And we've got City on the top. This is sorted by the Premier League table of last season. But basically, you can see City with those blanks from 12 to 15 because of the tough fixtures. Although on paper, it might be tough, but we don't know. Attacking wise, it might be a different story. And after that, you got Arsenal with their good fixtures about to come in terms of Game Week 12. You've got Crystal Palace there from 11 to 15, and a lot of people are looking for like defensive replacements. Some uncertain with regards to Newcastle because where's Newcastle? Oh yeah, so they're at fourth. So you got quite a few blanks between now to 16. So people are wondering whether they should move their Newcastle defense out, and they're looking for like maybe Crystal Palace as an option, or even like Spurs, who are about to reach a tough run as well. They're looking for, do you keep Udogi? Do you keep Pedro Porro? And maybe looking for alternatives. So this kind of helps you to identify some key fixtures that you could look to target. Thoughts, Andrew?
Yeah, it's interesting because a few of the teams that are on the kind of hop on at the moment, like Manchester United and Crystal Palace, even West Ham, not that impressive at the
No.
moment. So yeah, the graphic tells us to hop on, but not sure that we should in all of those cases.
Yeah, exactly. So this, I guess the graphic looks at it from an on-paper point of view and
Yeah,
not necessarily a current form point of view, which we
yeah, no,
kind of need
exactly
to
right.
keep in mind.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and the thing is, like that, even that Man United one, Fulham, Luton, and Everton, I would only say the Luton one might be a bit more doable, and I would say the Fulham and Everton are probably going to be tough games given the way they're
Yeah,
playing.
absolutely. I mean, Everton all of a sudden seem to be playing pretty decent. So that fixture doesn't look anywhere near as good as it did a couple of weeks ago.
Indeed, exactly. So we'll discuss all of that when we get into the Game Week 11 fixtures. But we've also got Pete, FPL SideNet, in the chat. Basically says, does the Leo DiCaprio Once Upon a Time in Hollywood point at the TV? So he's got some references, movie references, which
Yeah,
are very popular on the FPL SideNet podcast.
yeah. Pete can't go 5 minutes without making a movie reference of some sort.
Indeed. So if you want to listen to more of that, do check out their latest podcast, which is on Spotify as well. Now, let's get straight into Game Week 11's fixtures. Fulham versus Manchester United. So we kind of touched on it.
Mm.
I think this is a hard game, given it's away as well. I think it
Yep.
makes it a bit hard. I do remember that I was listening to your podcast, and you did specify that maybe because it's away, it could be a bit more easier because the lack of the Old Trafford crowd.
Yeah. I
Um,
think in the past I've found that Manchester United, when they're going through a rough patch, they're a bit more relaxed away from home because they're not feeling the pressure of the home crowd. But yeah, having said that, Fulham, they got a pretty surprisingly good result against Brighton last week, and yeah, Manchester United just not looking good at all. So yeah, I really don't actually know how that game's going to go. I'm not sure what your thoughts are.
at this point, I myself don't know. I thought I knew like what Ten Hag will play against in
Mm,
the derby. Like I thought I knew the backline and everything, and then he comes out and says Varane is dropped for tactical reasons, and I'm like,
yeah,
what?
I'm not buying that. I don't
Yeah,
know what you. No, I'm not buying that at all. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's what. Go, yeah,
I was just going to say, like, the Manchester United attacking assets like Bruno and Rashford. I just, I still just don't see them, despite that relatively good-looking fixture. I just don't see them being a worthwhile hold. It doesn't seem like Manchester United are ever going to score more than a couple of goals in any game at the moment.
I think at this point they're struggling to even score one, given the
Yeah,
forward line it hasn't scored a single goal yet in the Premier League. Um, honestly, I won't be surprised if this even ends up as a 0-0. Given that even Fulham aren't really teams that are in like prolific form in terms of scoring as well.
yeah,
But then both teams aren't that great defensively as well. So you could see a 1-1 potentially as
yeah.
well.
I'm thinking more like a 1-1 than a nil all.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it could be one of those games similar to, say, the Brentford game for Manchester United, where they're not particularly good, but they just figure out a way to get it done in the end, and they kind of scrap their way to a 2-1 win, something like that.
That could happen. Yeah, I won't be
Yeah.
surprised as well if that happens. But if
Mm.
you have United players for this run, do you sell them or do you like?
I think that if you have one,
Yeah,
then that's okay to hold. If I had more than one, then I would be selling for
yeah, fair
sure,
enough.
at least one of them. If you had one, I guess it's okay to hold, but you know, I think there probably are players that you could probably prioritize over them. Like if you have Bruno or Rashford, I'd be tempted to move to someone like Saka or Son or
Yeah.
there's so many midfielders that are in better form at the moment. So unless you had some other fire in your team that you needed to fix, then it would be tempting to get rid of your Man United assets, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. If you had like a defensive player, because I know if you have Onana still, I've seen like a few from watching like some of my viewers that they ask their teams, and I'm like, oh, they got Onana, and I look at like a goalkeeper to suggest, at least for this specific game week going forward. It's not as easy. There aren't that many options. Like we
Mm,
could say Ariola, but like he's not going to get you a clean sheet. He's probably only going to get you save points. So
no.
where would you suggest anyone in that specific area? Or
If you had a Nana,
yeah,
oh,
or
I mean,
just hope and pray.
I still I kind of like the idea of Raya. If you've got a
Yeah.
Nana, then you've probably got enough money for Raya. And I know that Newcastle away is not a great fixture this week. But as you mentioned before with the hop off graphic, yeah. Arsenal's fixtures from game week 12 get a lot better.
Mm.
Burnley, Brentford, Wolves, Luton. So I do like Raya. He
Yeah.
seemed to go through a little bit of a rough patch where there was some talk of him being dropped again for Ramsdale, but he's come through that. He had a clean sheet the other day against Sheffield
Mm.
United, and it seems like Arteta is keeping the faith with him. So I think that I would be tempted to go there. Um,
Th-
Otherwise, yeah, I don't know who you go to.
So I thought Rhea, but then the one thing I noticed with that is they play
Yep.
Brentford in game week 13 and he's still on loan.
Oh, so he can't play.
I don't know. We don't know what the maybe it depends on how they structured the rules of the loan.
I'm
But
pretty sure I've heard that he can't play. So it would also depend on who your second keeper was. If your
yeah.
second keeper was Turner, then you wouldn't do that because Turner is likely to be dropped at any given time.
Yeah.
If your second keeper is Areola, then it's probably fine.
Yeah, okay. That's the thing. So it depends on who your second keeper is for that
Yeah,
specific
because
season.
who's game week 13, West Ham's got Burnley. So if you had Areola, then it
Yeah.
would probably be fine. But if you had Areola, you probably wouldn't want to waste a transfer on a goalkeeper anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yep.
Yeah, unless you were trying to free up some funds or
Mm.
yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. So having said that, I guess we're expecting a tough game, probably. But let's move to that Brentford versus West Ham game.
Mm.
West Ham with a loss to Everton. Um, I wouldn't say it was surprising. Because when I made my wildcard team, I was like, oh, this is like one of the few fixtures I can go against Bowen, potentially, because Everton are no pushovers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you're a better predictor than I am because I've got to admit I was surprised by that result. That was one of the fixtures that I was quite attracted to when I actually brought in Bowen
Mm,
this game week. So I was hoping for something home to Everton, but yeah, no, Everton were were too good for them. West Ham were not very impressive at all.
Mm.
So away from home to Brentford, and with Brentford coming off that really good result against Chelsea, I can see this as being another potential haul from Burmo.
After I just sold him on a wild card, he went.
Yeah, he's one player I just haven't owned all season, and
Yeah.
I wanted him for game week 1, and something happened which sort of forced me to go a different way. I always had other fires in my team, so I never got an opportunity to bring him in until we got to the point where his fixtures weren't that great anymore.
Mm.
So he's one of these players that's just been doing well all season. I've just never owned him. But I think I'm looking. If you look at Brentford's fixtures, I think they turn around for the better in about game week 14, don't they?
Brentford, yes. They
Brentford,
have
yeah,
Luton, then Brighton, then Sheffield. So good attacking
yeah.
wise. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that I might get Mbermo in for the first time this season, game week 14. That's what I'm looking at.
Would you even potentially? It depends on how you play the transfers and everything. Because
Mm.
I was looking at my team as well as a situation. I was wondering because I might end up in a situation where game week 13 I have to use like transfers, but the team looks good. I was wondering, would you even think of going to Mbemo a bit earlier?
Yeah, I think he's fine to go this week. I mean, I'm expecting him to have a decent game against West Ham. And we've seen that he can he's on penalties, right?
Mm.
So he could get a penalty any week. And he's played, he hauled last week against Chelsea away from home, which you wouldn't have expected necessarily. So he's the kind of player that I wouldn't be afraid to go to him early.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool.
Yeah.
Um, Mira says, I don't feel good about having Bowen against Brentford. Paqueta and Alvarez out as well. That is true.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, One thing though, I think with West Ham, this is something that Demo from FPL Amateurs of us, he mentioned with regards to Mohamed Kudus potentially playing that number 10 role. Maybe something to kind of watch and see for people who are looking for a cheaper Bowen alternative.
Yeah, yeah. He's just a bit unproven, isn't he?
Yeah,
Like
that's the thing.
we've never seen how he performs from an FPL perspective when he starts week in, week out, which hasn't happened yet. So I'd kind of want to have a look first
Mm,
and see how he looks after, if when he does crack the starting lineup and starts playing, from the start every week. I kind of want to have a bit of a look at him before I kind of commit. It seems like a bit of a risky pick to me.
fair enough. Would you still look at getting Bowen for like those who don't have with the fixtures that are still left?
Yeah, look, I would say so. I mean, I brought Bowen in this week, or sorry, last week, and I was pretty optimistic about the Everton fixture, but I've also brought him in for the fixtures to come. So I wouldn't let one blank put you off. I
Mm,
still think he's a really good asset, and I think that with those fixtures that he's got, he will return. So I'm keeping the faith. So, but definitely maybe a little bit less confident than I was a week ago.
fair enough. All
Yeah.
right. So that is, yes, Brentford West Ham and TN welcome as well. Quick question, because we did this before with when Mira was on the channel in terms of trying to figure out where do you think scores would go. So now we spoke about United Fulham as a 1-1. Where
Yep.
do you think this would potentially go?
Brentford West Ham.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a 2-1 to West Ham. Sorry, 2-1 to Brentford.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet, but I think they might be a bit too good for West Ham. What do you think?
This one, I 2-1. I won't be. Is possible. More likely,
Hmm.
it's the case. But I won't be surprised if West Ham do find a result somehow.
I
Potentially,
hope you're right. I hope you're right.
yeah.
You know,
So
I'm
2-1 either way, potentially.
yeah. I can't see. Yeah, I don't think a clean sheet's very likely. I think you said that earlier with you said it wasn't likely that Ariola would keep a clean
No,
sheet. I agree with that.
yeah,
But yeah, no, it's one of those games that could go either way.
yeah,
But yeah, Brentford coming off that really good result last week. Yeah, they and West Ham were a bit disappointing in their performance, I thought. So that's just what makes me think that Brentford might just get it. But yeah, as you say, like I wouldn't be surprised with any result. I wouldn't be surprised with a 2-1 either way, or even a 2-all draw.
yeah. Fair enough. Okay, moving on. Burnley versus Crystal Palace. Burnley, the team that I've considered the most double digits in terms of hauls from an FPL point of view this season,
Yep.
far exceeding Sheffield United as well. Crystal Palace with a lackluster attack. I think they are, if I was to just quickly pop into the team attack last 6 game weeks, yeah, the second bottom, Crystal Palace.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Yep.
against fourth bottom Burnley. Defensive wise, Burnley, or this is sorted by chances conceded. So Burnley are in the top 5. Crystal Palace are a bit more low, so they have a slightly better defense
Yep.
than Burnley. But like, where do you see like I mean, Foster Taylor is not going to be getting creamers every week.
No. No.
So where do we see this going?
Oh, I don't really know. I mean, it's hard to like. On the one hand, I think I don't know where Crystal Palace's goal is going to come from, but on
Yeah,
the other hand, I think that Burnley will concede against literally anyone.
yeah.
So yeah, I feel like maybe Crystal Palace might actually win that game.
Mm,
But having said that, if Burnley is going to win a home game, this is a really good opportunity for them. But I still think that my gut feeling is that Crystal Palace might be a bit too good.
yeah, most likely. I think Burnley. I don't think Burnley have the quality at this
No.
moment to actually do what they want to do in terms of playing off on the back and everything. And Crystal Palace, even though with the injuries, I still think they're a decent team. And they won't concede too many chances. That's
Yeah.
one thing. So
Yeah.
it'll be a tight game. I won't be surprised if it's a 1-0 to Palace.
That's what I was thinking too. I mean, I've got Gahey in my team, and I'm
Yeah.
intending to start him, because yeah, you sort of get that feeling that it could be the kind of game where they do keep a clean sheet.
Mm. For those,
Yeah,
now obviously Neto is injured, and Ayu has been spoken as a replacement. Do we trust Palace attack enough to even go there, or from based on what we've just seen of the data, Palace are like second bottom? Do we
no, I
just?
don't. Yeah, no, I don't trust it. Would if Ayu's goal was ruled out for handball, would anyone even be suggesting it?
That's true. Fair enough.
No, I think there's actually quite a few decent like 5.5 options around. Um, that that you could go to from Neto. I don't think IU is even in the top half a
Mm,
dozen options.
fair enough.
There's so many good options out there at the moment. So no, I would say no.
Okay. All right. So that's only Palace. Let's move to another team which probably has like those 5 million options. Everton, Brighton. Um, Everton again. I don't think they were pushovers because if I go to that defense, where are they? Yeah. So the bottom teams are the best for defense. They are fifth out of the last 6 game weeks. So not really any like pushover team per se. They've
Mm,
just been unlucky, at least what I think.
yeah,
But they're playing a Brighton team that is probably the best in terms of attack, almost. Oh no, it's been dropped a bit in the last few. They're
yeah,
currently 3, 6, 7, 8. Brighton.
yeah,
Where do we think Adringa is still worth it as a punt, or?
yeah. Look, I think he's a decent punt. I think he probably will play a fair few minutes. Like, is
Hmm.
there anyone else that can really play in that position at the moment? I
Uh,
mean, De Zerbi's pretty creative.
yeah, that's the thing.
He can put random players in random places, but um, he does seem to be their best option on the right wing at the moment. But so I think he's not a bad punt. But again, like there are probably others that I'm a little bit more confident in.
Hmm.
But I would choose a Dringer over RU. Put it that way.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. From like you mentioned others, like probably is that Mitoma, and would it be anyone
Well,
else?
if you're looking in that mid five, like the mid fives where Neto was, you've got Gordon.
Hmm.
You've even got Chan from
Yeah.
Wolves, like going straight across within Wolves. Even players like Douglas Luiz and John McGinn at Aston Villa, just for the next 2 or 3 weeks with the fixtures that they've got, I'd be probably more confident in them than I would be in players like IU.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think Adringa's a decent punt as well. He hasn't produced it yet, but just to the eye test, he looks like he is capable of a haul.
Hmm. Fair enough. In terms of Everton, Any FPL assets or just fixtures are not good, so kind of avoid.
Yeah, well, the fixtures aren't great, so you can kind of afford to hold off. But I am keeping an eye on DCL
Hmm.
because he's starting to look sharper and
Yeah.
sharper. And he's got such a bad injury record that I want to see him stay fit for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks straight before I even consider it. But if he does seem to be over his injury issues, he does look like an interesting option. But I'm not really sure who else there would be. Maybe Pickford if their defense keeps on being as good as it has been the last couple of weeks. Like, um, you know,
Mm.
Pickford wouldn't be the worst option. But I don't. Most people don't really make goalkeeper
Yeah.
transfers except on wildcard, so it's probably quite a ways down the track
Yeah.
that
Fair
you'd
enough.
be making those kind of decisions.
Um, with regards to Mitoma, Dr. Dribble,
Yeah,
do is he still a good pickup?
I don't know. I've had him in my team since game week 1.
Yeah.
I started with him, and on game week 8 wildcard, I kept him, even though he had a couple of tough fixtures, because I was really excited about his fixtures from game week 10 onwards. He's obviously blanked in game week 10 against
Yeah.
Fulham, and that's about 3 or 4 blanks in a row now. Um, and I think he hasn't returned in the European games either, in between the Premier League games. So he is going through a bit of a cold spell at the moment. It is the kind of player that at any moment he could just catch fire
Yeah.
and score a brace or whatever. So it's difficult to drop him, but he's also a player that maybe um, I wouldn't transfer in. I
Yeah.
think he's
Okay.
a hold rather than a buy, I guess.
Okay.
Is what I would say. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I'm wondering how much of his cold spell is related to Estupinan being out as well.
Yeah, that's true. They did have a pretty good relationship down the
Yeah.
left there, didn't they?
Yeah. That's what. And also like, because they don't really have a left back per se, so maybe he has to do more defensive work as well. And
Yeah,
whereas when you have Estupinan on the pitch, he's so attacking that that side of the pitch has to deal with two people compared to
yeah,
just Mitoma at the moment.
yeah.
So I'm
It
wondering if that,
gives Matoma a bit more freedom.
yeah, exactly. So I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it.
Yeah,
But then again, Estupinan seems to be back very soon. So maybe it helps him. But I guess, yeah, I would agree. Probably just wait on him. Don't need to buy immediately. But I guess once you
yeah,
see form, then maybe.
yeah, yeah. Exactly right. Like if I was in the market for a midfielder around that price, you'd probably want to go for someone like Mbermo first,
Yeah,
right? Being on penalties and with more secure minutes.
yeah,
But as someone that owns him, then I don't think that we're in a position yet where I'm tempted to sell him. I think I'll just hold him for a couple more weeks and hope that he turns it around.
yeah. Fair enough. In terms of scoreline, how do we see this going?
Oh, no idea. Like I was pretty surprised by the 1-1 that
Okay,
Brighton
yeah,
had with Fulham. So yeah, I don't know. I still think though that Brighton are just a fantastic team, and you expect them to win most weeks. They haven't kept a clean sheet yet, so I'm not expecting them to start now. So maybe something like 3-1, a 3-1 Brighton win wouldn't
mm,
surprise me.
yeah. Fair enough. I think they don't. So since they don't have any midweek fixture, a good
Yep.
rest as well should kind of help them. The
Yeah, that's
only
right.
one caveat is the fact that they have Ajax next week and they need to win that game. Uh, but I think it should be fine because of no football this midweek. Maybe it should help in terms of strong team at least in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I think that they need a good result in the Premier League.
Yeah,
So I think De Zerbi will put a lot of focus on this game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go 2-1 probably, just because they're still not in like fully firing type mode.
Yep.
So I'll go 2-1, and also because I said Everton are no pushovers, so they
Yeah.
might make it cagey.
I
Uh,
might be being a little bit overly optimistic as a Matoma owner.
yeah, same. I would like to see him get a hat trick, but I don't
Yep.
think it's gonna happen. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But a team where a hat trick won't be surprised, like I won't be surprised with, is the Man City Bournemouth game. You have Haaland still, yes? Yes, I think
Yes,
you
I
do.
do.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
For those who sold Haaland, do they hold, stick to the plan?
I think
Or
you have to because the people that the people that sold Haaland
Yeah.
did so in full knowledge of this fixture. I don't think Haaland has done anything since then that would surprise
Mm.
anyone. So those people obviously, had a plan when they went without Haaland. So I suppose if you went without Haaland and your plan all along was to get him back for this fixture, then you go through with that. But if you were planning to wait until game week 16, which I think a lot of people were, a lot of people sold Haaland with the intention of getting him back in game week 16, which I think is maybe Luton.
Mm.
Um, I think if that was your plan all along, then there's no reason. Am I correct there?
Yeah, Luton in 16.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
even
think
Villa in 15 if you wanted to. But yeah.
yeah. But yeah, like if I don't think anything has changed. So if we all knew that Haaland could brace in any game, and we all knew that this home to Bournemouth fixture was coming. So if you went without Haaland, it was for a reason, and I guess, there's no reason to go away from that plan if you thought it was the right thing to do. But I didn't have the guts to do that. I didn't give any thought whatsoever at any point to going without Haaland.
Yeah, fair enough. Same. I was like, nah, this guy's just too good to kind of ignore.
Yeah, it was just too stressful.
Yeah, and with like Grealish back, Stones back, I think that kind of helps him as well in terms of creativity and service to him.
Yep.
But again, they're not going to be playing Man United every week as well. So
Yep. And Rodri back as well, I think helps him too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
From a Bournemouth point of view, we're probably not expecting much, I guess.
No.
Okay.
No.
Would you go for? Probably not. I was thinking City defenders, but maybe not at the moment. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. I don't think it's that often.
Yeah.
Like I've gone with City defenders in the past. It's always disappointed.
Yeah, fair enough.
They find a way to randomly concede a goal, or they don't start, and then they come on for a 4-minute cameo at the end. It's always just frustrating. I had Guardiola earlier in the season, and he frustrated me. So yeah, I still think that except for double game weeks, and I'm kind of I think I've decided I'm going to pretty much steer clear of Man City defenders.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, scoreline. How big are we thinking?
6-0.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll go a bit more tamer in terms of a 4-0.
Well, I you know what? I think that the scoreline's whatever Man City want it to be.
Yeah, exactly.
They might get to like 2 or 3-0 and then just kind of play with the ball and cruise, or
Yeah.
they might go for the jugular. And if they decide to go for the jugular, it could be 6-0.
Yeah,
or worse.
Yeah, true. Fair enough. All right, so we'll see how that goes. But in terms of captaincy, I wonder if we get to captaincy now, or maybe we'll get to it when we go to Liverpool as well, because I think it's a very interesting question. But
it's a good discussion.
Yeah, moving on to Wolves versus Sheffield. Now, obviously, Neto is out. You mentioned Huang as well as a potential alternative to that spot.
Yep.
Do we think it could impact Wolves? I think it might impact Wolves' attacking options, or like in terms of the creating side, in terms of how they score goals.
Yeah, I think it's going to impact them a lot. I think it's going to be really, really negative for them. But having said that, Sheffield United is probably the one team that they don't really have to worry too much.
Yeah,
they'll probably be fine. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. I think if you've got Wolves assets other than Neto, I wouldn't be too worried about this week, but I would be worried about how Wolves might go after this week without Neto.
Yeah, fair enough. True. Yeah. To keep it simple, scoreline wise, I'm probably thinking 2-0.
Yeah, I was going to say 2-0. So let's
stick to that. Okay.
Yeah, let's stick to that.
Okay, now the big game for probably the week. Oh, apart from the Spurs and Chelsea one, Newcastle versus Arsenal. Now this is for me at least, it's a question of, obviously the last 2 times Arsenal have played Newcastle, Arsenal have kept a clean sheet, but here we are thinking of benching Gabriel with Newcastle at home.
Yep.
Do we think there is any chance of a clean sheet from either side, or is it just goals from either side?
No, I think that there's a chance of an Arsenal clean sheet. Because just because in the big games their defense seems to really lock in, and their defense seems to be better away from home, and consistently so over the last kind of year or so. So yeah, I'm never surprised to see a clean sheet in like these really big games. So yeah, I don't know about Newcastle keeping a clean sheet though. That they've got a couple of pretty big outs at the moment defensively. Well, I mean Botman being the main one. And like Trippier was uncharacteristically shaky at the back in the
Mm,
last game. I don't know if it's fatigue or if it was just a one-off bad game, but he gave the ball away, nearly conceded a goal. And yeah, he made a couple of bad defensive reads. Yeah, he wasn't great in the last game defensively. So yeah, I don't know. I can't see Newcastle keeping a clean sheet, but I wouldn't be shocked if Arsenal did.
fair enough. I wonder if because they have the cup fixture against United uh,
Yep.
tomorrow morning, I think. I wonder if Eddie Howe will rotate and give a rest to his big guns.
I'm pretty confident that he will. I
Yeah,
think I've read some quotes from him that kind of hint at rotation in the cup, in the midweek game. Not that you can trust anything that Eddie
yeah,
Howe says, but
exactly.
the quotes that he made did seem to suggest that he would, and I
Mm,
think he did last time as well, even in that
the
the
City
last round
game.
of the cup
Yeah,
against City.
yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like he does use the cup as an opportunity to rest some players, but I don't know who they're going to play at striker if he doesn't want to play
Callum
Callum
Wilson.
Wilson.
I had I recorded a Scout the Game uh, pod with FPL Mark Joblin. So he's a Newcastle fan, and he was stating how maybe potentially, if let's say Wilson also ends up injured at times, then
Mm.
Gordon can potentially play that spot because he did
Yep,
play that for Everton as well before, I think.
yep.
So maybe he might be that the last striking option, or they get Joe Linton because they signed him as a striker
Yeah,
initially.
true, true. Yeah, I mean, I think Callum Wilson, he tends to not even train for the first half of the week after a
Mm,
game on the weekend. They tend to kind of wrap him up in cotton wool. So I'm not sure if he's capable of playing, like weekend, midweek, weekend. I
mm,
just don't think his body can do it. So they are going to have to come up with another option.
mm.
Um, yeah, Gordon playing striker would be interesting. I don't know. We've seen it with Rashford and even Bowen to a lesser extent. Like sometimes when a winger moves to the striker, it's
Yeah,
not actually the best thing for them because
yeah.
it's just not the natural position. So it seems like a really good thing for FPL, but it's not always the case.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So we'll have to wait and see how they do. If you had Trippier, would you still keep him with the upcoming tough fixtures for Newcastle?
Um,
I'm saying this off the fact that I just wildcarded and bought him in.
yeah, okay, okay. Let me see what those fixtures are. Okay, yeah. Um, what's the question? Would you keep him?
Yeah, I probably will, but
Yeah, I mean, I would be tempted to keep him, at least until after the Bournemouth game in game week 12.
hmm,
Having said that, if there was other moves that you really wanted to make and you needed to free up some cash, it would be very tempting to use him as
hmm,
a cash cow with these fixtures coming up.
yeah, fair enough. I so me personally, I'm thinking because I look at those teams. Apart from the Arsenal game, I think the other tough fixtures in terms of Chelsea and United, I don't think they're as tough from an attacking point of view. For like at least Newcastle defensively should be fine in
Yep,
those games.
yep.
It's only the Spurs game where I think the clean sheet could be at risk again. And then after that, you got a really nice stretch of like three good fixtures before they face Liverpool and City back to back.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair call. Do you have double defense or is it just
Yeah,
Trippier?
no, I have Trippier and Lascelles just like you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice, nice. Well, I know I don't have Trippier.
Oh, okay. I have.
I've got Burn and Lascelles.
Yeah, but I'm not
Yeah,
gonna start Lascelles anytime soon. It's just there
no,
for the moment.
yeah, yeah, that's right. I mean, I mean, you'd be tempting to start him next week against
Yeah,
Bournemouth, yeah.
maybe.
But I'm certainly not starting him this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even if you did have even if you were confident of Newcastle clean sheets in those fixtures that they look bad on paper, that in reality they're probably not.
Mm,
You could still use Trippier as a cash cow, even if you went down to a cheaper Newcastle defender.
mm,
Like if you really needed the money, you could go like Trippier down to Burn and then have Burn and Lascelles instead of Trippier and Lascelles.
fair enough.
I know that you've got Trippier is also fantastic for bonus
Yeah.
and attacking returns as well. So it's obvious that he's a far superior asset. I guess I'm just speaking from a perspective of if you really wanted, to free up some cash to get back up to Son or Saka or whoever you didn't have that you really wanted,
Yeah.
then it would be a consideration, given that the fixtures aren't as good as they have been. That's all.
Yep, fair enough. I think the only reason that's keeping me to keep him for the moment is the fact that when I look at the rest of the defensive options available, there aren't any attacking fullbacks per se. Good attacking fullbacks.
The only one really is Simicast, right?
Yeah,
If you don't have Simicast already, then that's got to be pretty tempting because he is an attacking fullback. He does take a few corners, a few set pieces. So I think that he, from a value point of view, with the fixtures that Liverpool have, he is a pretty good value proposition when you compare his price to Trippier's.
Yeah, exactly. Fair enough. All right. So scoreline. How do we see this?
I don't think you're gonna agree with me, but I'll just I'm gonna say 2-0 to Arsenal.
I won't be surprised with that.
No.
Yeah, I think so. I'll see. It's very contradicting to I'm contradicting myself in terms of trying to say Arsenal get a clean sheet while benching Gabriel at the same time. Because I've got Anthony Gordon as well, and me generally I would, even though I think the chances are low for a clean sheet, I would always play the attacker just for that high upside.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go with 2-1 for the moment. I just hope that Gordon gets their one goal with Trippier and assist.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I mean, even a really good clean sheet fixture is usually a 50% chance of a clean sheet. I think people overestimate the chances of clean sheets in pretty much every game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that playing your attacking asset in Gordon is absolutely fine.
Mira says 0-0, so we'll see.
Big call.
Yeah.
That would be a very disappointing result for the game of the round. It ends up being a boring kind of cagey 0-0 draw. So I hope that Mira's wrong, but
we'll see how that goes. One quick question that's in the chat from Boki is: would you move a Burn out to a Guehi?
Oh, good question. Potentially. I mean, I don't want to give too much away for what we talk about later on, but I'm thinking of getting rid of Burn myself this week. And not for Guehi. I've actually already got Guehi, so it's a difficult question for me to answer.
Okay, we'll get to that then.
I think to answer that question, I probably wouldn't, because I think that defensive transfers probably aren't they're not usually a priority, especially unless you're transferring to an attacking defender. And Guehi's not really an attacking defender. You're kind of, both of those players have kind of got a normal ceiling of 6 or 7 points. So I don't know if they're, it's probably a better higher upside transfer somewhere else in your squad, not having seen his squad.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so okay. I said 2-1, you said 2-0. We'll see how things go. And then Mira is with a 0-0 out there. So we'll see. But another game we could hopefully hope for goals, as long as Watkins puts a Medicash chance inside in the net, is Aston Villa versus Forest. Now, I'm expecting goals from Villa, given that their nature is to kind of score high scoring games.
Yep.
And hopefully Watkins is involved this time. Thoughts? How do you see this game going?
I agree with you. I think there's goals in this game. I feel like Aston Villa always tend to concede one goal away from home. So, but they always, they seem to be pretty good. Their attack is pretty much humming along at the moment. So I can see this being another kind of 3-1, similar to the scoreline that they had against Luton.
Indeed. We'll have to 3-1.
Yeah. What do you think?
Is Chris Wood still out? I think so, right? Potentially. So they don't. I don't know what the striker situation is for.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you don't know where the goal's going to come from. But I don't know. Villa just usually find a way to concede one away from home.
And for some reason, I have every time. I've seen own goals go from Villa. It's always the fact that it hits Martinez and goes in for some reason.
It's happened twice, hasn't it? In relatively recent times. And you know what? Luca Dean, he likes an own goal now and then as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's why I don't own him.
He's on my no-fly list.
No. Yeah, exactly. Same, exactly. Yep. So that's why. But yeah, I don't mind 3-1. Yeah, I won't be surprised as long as if Matty Cash gets an attacking return and gets subbed off early again, I'll
I
take it.
hope I'm wrong. I've got Matty Cash. I would
Yeah,
love for it. I would love it to be like a 3 or 4-0.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm a bit pessimistic because I don't have I don't have as much faith in Villa's defense as I have in their attack. Put it that way.
yeah. Fair enough. For those looking for like you mentioned like McGinn and Lewis, I guess
Yeah.
good options for Neto replacement.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, if I actually picked John McGinn this week as my goodwill punting, which
Yeah.
is like a segment that we have in the FPL SideNet podcast where we just pick like a low-owned punt every week. And this week I actually chose John McGinn. Um, he's sneaky good. He's returning like almost every week recently. I think he's returned 3 out of the last 4 weeks. And yeah, he seems to just turn up in the right place at the right time. He's nearly got as many points this season as Matty Cash, and Matty Cash is in pretty much every kind of team. He's in the template. So yeah, I think that he's sort of flying under the radar a bit, and he's not the worst punt.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll see how this goes. You said 3-1. Yeah, I'll probably stick with your 3-1 as well. See how things goes. As long as Watkins and Medicash can actually score this week.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah.
I can't sit through another big chance miss.
Oh no. That was like 10 points
from a
gone.
yeah, that was crushing.
Yeah. That was basically like you mentioned on your pod, the difference between a green arrow and a red arrow, basically.
Yeah. And I sure did get a red arrow, so yeah. Story checks out.
Indeed. All right, let's go to Luton versus Liverpool. Now, okay, let's talk captaincy first.
Yep.
Haaland or Salah?
You know what? Salah.
Okay.
A Salah against Luton is just one of the best fixtures.
Yeah.
Of the season, and Luton. Apparently their defense, what I've heard is their defense, all their stats are that they're just conceding all of their points and all of their chances down Salah's side.
Yes, let me get that picture up. I'll actually bring that up now.
Oh, you got that. Of course you've got that.
Yeah, now I should add it. I'll probably add it here. Let me do this. This is live editing, people.
There we go.
Let me duplicate this. There you go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Oh no, wrong one. All right, live editing. There we go. That's the picture you're talking about. Luton.
Yep.
This is from FPL Meerkat. Basically showing where they've conceded all their goals.
That's the Salah zone.
Yeah, that's the Salah zone. Now, when I first saw this, I kind of thought it could also be good for Darwin and Szoboszlai, because Liverpool's system is such that even Szoboszlai tends to get forward down that. And we saw Liverpool's, I think it was the Darwin first goal, where Salah is the one who passed to Szoboszlai, and then Szoboszlai cuts it into Darwin, who is like right next to the box. So I won't be surprised if something like that happens again.
Yep. Either would I. I think I don't know if you listen to the Above Average FPL pod this week, but they were talking about Szoboszlai.
Yeah.
They were very excited about him this week.
Yeah, that's what. They were like, Adam was ready to try and sell someone to try and get Szoboszlai in.
Yeah, he was. He almost did it live on air.
Yeah, exactly.
He was that excited. So, yeah, it does look like it could be an amazing game for Salah. And Salah and Darwin, they really play really well together as well. So whenever I think Darwin is more likely to start, I think that Salah's more likely to haul as well, because they just seem to assist each other. They've got a really good relationship on the field.
Fair enough. So I guess so going back to that captaincy discussion.
So I was going to say that there's a but to what I was going to say.
Yeah, okay.
The but is that I think that Man City home to Bournemouth is probably the best fixture of the year. So even though Liverpool and Luton is an amazing fixture for Salah, I just don't know that you can turn down Haaland home to Bournemouth.
Yeah, fair enough. That's the thing. I think when City are at home, they're different beast in general.
Yeah.
And if Grealish, Rodri and Stones are all playing alongside Foden as well, I think that increases Haaland's like service as well on the pitch.
Yep.
So I am most likely going there as well in terms of Haaland cap. I'm happy to have Salah, but I will be most likely captain in Haaland.
For sure. I wish there was a double captain
Ah,
chip
yes.
instead of a triple captain chip where you could
Yes.
captain two players in a game week.
See,
If I
these
don't
are
know
the
if you
ideas we
call it
need.
like the double chip, I think we'd call it.
There we go.
If we had that chip, 100% of people in the game would be playing that chip this week.
Yeah, fair enough. And if FPL, if they're watching this video, if anyone passes this idea, I guess you better
Yeah.
copyright it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
This
I'm
is,
sure I'm not the first person to have thought of it, but it's just, yeah. Uh, every now and then you need to freshen things up.
yeah.
Maybe it's time to replace the bench boost or even the triple captain with the double double.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll,
Yep.
but yeah, even not like that, even like 1.5 for points of
Yeah,
the
but
captaincy.
then you're getting into maths. Like, what if you
Yeah,
get
true.
like an odd number of points? Like, what are we
Okay.
doing?
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Then you just have
Yeah,
problems. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, double it is.
All right.
In terms of other Liverpool assets, now we mentioned Darwin and Szoboszlai.
Yep.
Would we look to maybe double up on the attack if
Yeah,
possible?
I mean, I think so. Like, I think if you've got the transfers and you've got a player in your team that you're happy to lose, I would love to double up on Liverpool attack this week.
And
Um,
Mira is mentioning tempted to shift Bowen for Szoboszlai, but stopping
I
myself from pulling the trigger.
I am tempted actually. I am tempted. But I didn't even think of it until I heard above average FPL and I
Yeah,
got swept up in their excitement. But
yeah,
like they did speak a lot of sense.
yeah,
And I did, yeah, after listening to them, I actually did think what if I was to sacrifice Bowen? But I think I don't think it's the smart play for me. Like I've just brought Bowen in,
yeah,
and just to give up on him after one blank, just to go to the newest shiny asset.
yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not. It's a fun move, but I'm probably more of a boring manager than that. I'll probably stay the course.
Fair enough. The only thing like stopping me from doing that is like so I was looking at like 4 week picks because we do it on FPL IQ.
Yep.
And I was supposed to pick a midfielder, and I was like looking at that, and I was like, oh, they got City in game week 13, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a short term move if you're thinking of Szoboszlai even.
Oh yeah, but then they've got Fulham,
Yeah, after that,
Sheffield
yeah,
United, and Crystal
yeah,
Palace. Like you could even bench him for City if you were that worried. He's not that expensive.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how Mira will be. You might see a -4 coming in.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, come game week 11. But honestly, I think so. If you were to pick between him and Darwin, who would you go for first, though?
Soboslai.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Minutes.
I
Yeah,
I think in any given game week, I think Darwin is more explosive, but Soboslai just plays 90 minutes every week. Darwin, you're sweating on team sheets, and I hate doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah, Darwin starts probably pretty secure this week.
yeah.
But yeah, moving forward, it's like every week you're just not sure. But with
Mm,
Soboslai, you just know he's going to be in that team.
yeah, fair enough. Okay, scoreline.
Oof, I don't know. 3-0,
I'll go 4-0.
4-0. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
juicy. All
yeah.
right.
I think
I
that
guess
goes.
I guess the other thing I should say, sorry, just going back to your question about Darwin versus Soboslai,
Mm,
is that um, midfielder spots are a lot more
yeah,
valuable than striker spots. So
yeah,
from that perspective, you might be more likely to um, have the ability to get Darwin. But yeah, I didn't really consider that part of it. But yeah, 4-0, I can see that.
fair enough. All right, so we'll see how things go. And then the final big game, London Derby,
Yep.
Spurs versus Chelsea. Now, Spurs assets still really good. That's the whole debate about do we sell them for Arsenal assets last week, and then I think Madison kind of matched Saka, although
Yep.
Heung-min Son did outscore quite a lot of people in the game. Um, do we still think Spurs, even with the tough fixtures upcoming, are they worth a hold? If you had double, would you sell one?
Um, yeah, look, I last week I went from 3 Spurs to 1.
Yeah,
Um, whether that was the right thing to do or not is open for debate. Um, I wouldn't be rushing to sell Spurs assets before this Chelsea game. I feel pretty good about Spurs' chances in this Chelsea game. Um, but having said that, maybe 2 assets There's
Mm.
probably maybe 3 assets is too many.
Yeah.
I think I'd have no issue with having 1 or 2 Spurs assets, but maybe if you had 3, then maybe one of them could be someone that you'd be looking to get rid of in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think the defenders, if you have defenders, you probably look to sell
Yeah,
potentially, unless you
I
have the rotating option.
yeah, that's right. That's right. I agree with that. I got rid of my Spurs defender on the game week 8 wildcard.
Mm.
Um, and that was at a time where a lot of people were like their prices were going up because a lot of people were bringing them in, but I just sort of cashed out on them because I wanted to go for the fun kind of triple Spurs midfield. I
Mm.
went for I went
Sons
for
of
Richarlison,
Anarchy.
the
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy. Yeah. Didn't work out as much as I hoped it would, but it was a fun ride along the way. But yeah, so I think that I think that it is okay to get rid of Spurs defenders if you have 3 Spurs assets. I'd probably get rid of a Spurs defender before I got rid of Madison or Son.
Yep, fair enough. From Chelsea, unexpected result to lose
Yep.
2-0 to Brentford. Do we see them bouncing back? Because they've been a decently good defensive side.
Yeah. They were all over Brentford in the first half
Yeah,
too.
that's the
Yeah,
thing.
and they just could not get that breakthrough. And I
Yeah.
wonder how different the game would have been if they did get
Mm.
that first goal in the first half. They probably deserved one from on the balance of play. Yeah, no, I haven't. I think that Chelsea are improved over the last few weeks, and
Mm.
I'm seeing that Brentford game as more of a blip than like a proper
Yeah,
downturn.
yeah,
Having said that, like away to Spurs is one of the toughest games on the schedule. So I still I'm not expecting Chelsea to win this week. That's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
In terms of like that fifth enabler, or even like the Neto replacements,
Yeah,
Palmer, he looked really good in that first half,
yeah,
but the fixtures are still tough at the
yeah,
moment. So do we still like kind of avoid, even though he may have looked good?
yeah. I mean, I mentioned a few other options before, but I
Yeah,
mean, Palmer does seem to be probably the most reliable of in that price range, apart from Douglas Luiz, just because of the penalties.
yeah,
So you don't necessarily need a really good fixture to to get a goal when you're on pen. So it's a I don't mind, and I don't mind holding an asset at that price
yeah,
through a bad run of fixtures because he is easy to bench.
yeah.
You're not benching too much budget, so you can easily just sort of hold him and then just bench him and play him when he's got a decent fixture. So I don't mind. I don't mind Palmer.
Mm.
Even as a Neto replacement, because then you've got him stashed for their really good turnaround in fixtures, which I think is game week 16.
Yes.
And like that'll come around quicker than you
Yeah.
think. Like it's yeah, I wouldn't mind. Like if I was a Neto owner, I would be tempted to go to someone like Palmer and then just bench him when for
The
example,
tough ones. Yeah.
this week against Tottenham, you'd probably bench him, but then you've just got him stashed away for game week 16.
Yeah. Exactly.
A lot of people at that point will be looking to load up on Chelsea, and you'll be one transfer ahead.
Yep. Fair enough. You could even play him in some of those games.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So scoreline.
I just feel like Spurs win, like they're always winning 2-0 or
Ooh.
2-1.
Okay.
So I don't know. Mate, I would say 2-0 or 2-1. I can't decide between them. What do you think?
I was thinking 2-2.
Really?
I don't know. It's just a derby. Anything can happen.
Yeah, well, that's true. Anything can happen. I'm just I'm still I just love Ange that much. I think I'm
Yeah.
biased. I think I am biased. But
No,
yeah,
I'm not surprised, because even when, like, I will give credit to him in terms of when it seemed like they might concede another, or like they want to hold on to a result, he does bring on defenders to try and keep it tight as well. So he can go pragmatic if he wants
yeah,
to.
yeah,
So I won't be surprised if he does that in this game, because we've seen Chelsea struggle to score when you go proper pragmatic against them. So 2-1, I won't be surprised as well.
yeah.
But I don't know. Something's either.
So you
Because
got
how
a gut
long
feeling.
I
You
don't
got
know.
a gut
I'm
feeling that
wondering.
Chelsea might get a point.
I'm wondering how long this Spurs train can keep winning, keep winning, keep winning. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
know.
That's
I
the thing.
know. They've kept it going this far. Yeah, no. Well, we can go with 2-2 if you like.
Yeah, fair enough. I think your one game week loan might have to be a permanent loan with regards to Pete. He's like, don't come back, Andrew.
Yeah, he's very angry. He's
Yeah.
very angry at the moment.
So yeah, we'll see. It'll be a really good game to watch and see. But yeah, I think 2-1 or 2. I'm probably going 2-2, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in that game.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the fixtures. And we kind of touched on captaincy as well. Before we go to our teams, there is a question or a couple questions. And one was from Tendai H, which says, "Hey guys, hope you're well. Wondering if there's any tips around the defender differentials for 4.8."
Ooh. Differentials.
Yeah, I'll bring the team defense. So the best defensive teams are at the bottom. But for 4.8,
I'm just thinking.
probably should go to the hop on, hop off. Try and figure out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace, maybe you could say. Are they a
Yeah,
differential?
for sure. I mean, I I would have said like someone like Kurt Zuma,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for the fact that their defense hasn't been great, and
Yeah.
secondly, that most people have already got Areola.
Yeah.
So I've got Areola and Zuma, and I feel like it's too much.
Overkill. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was expecting the fixtures to just breed good defensive form, and
Yeah.
it so far it hasn't happened. So I would still say though Zuma if you don't have Areola, but I wouldn't double up on their defense. Otherwise, yeah, Crystal Palace defense is good, or even like someone like Jamal Lascelles.
Yeah. 4 million.
He's only 3.9 or 4 million at the moment, and it looks like Botman's out pretty long term, at least medium term. So, and as you said, like there's no like Newcastle's fixtures on paper don't look great, but
A good
I can
defensive
see them
team.
getting a few clean
Yeah.
sheets still
That's
in the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah,
Yep.
probably around that. Because like there aren't that many options per se, to be honest, that stand out.
Yeah, I mean, I think Simicast is obviously a really good option, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
call him a differential.
No.
Like he's probably quite an obvious pick.
Yeah, that's the thing. So like the obvious ones like Gabriel, Simicast are there. But then if you look in after that, it's like your Crystal Palace, West Ham, maybe if you wanted to go double.
What about someone like Harry Maguire?
For the next 3,
Just almost more for like a possible attacking returns more than even clean sheets. You know what I mean? Like those teams that we're looking at, especially Fulham and Luton, they're not great at defending set pieces, and even Manchester United surely can get a clean sheet against home to Luton.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I had him in like one of my drafts on my wildcard. So I mean, even for like freeing up funds and going like using the money elsewhere as well, I don't mind it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But in that case, I would probably go for a bit more of a higher upside in terms of a Dalot, if that was the case. Yeah. But I don't know if it's 4.8 or below. I'm not really sure on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much Dalot is. I can quickly check.
The one thing though is I think
Dalot's 4.9 by the way.
Yeah, okay. I think Wan Bissaka is slightly back in training. So that might be a slight issue. Yeah. And then one final other one was, I think I answered this. Like I sold Foden for Bowen, had Foden since game week 1 because his returns were low compared to other midfielders. Will I regret this move? I said no, probably not.
No.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty good move to me.
Yeah, that's what.
Let's not give up on Bowen after one blank.
Yeah, true. And then Boki is asking for a team review. Probably won't do it on this because it's a podcast. So I'll probably message you with regards to that. But yeah, so that's the fixtures. Let's go. So team attack: Newcastle, Liverpool, Villa, City, still like top 4. Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, and Bournemouth and Burnley at the bottom. Anything kind of surprises you here?
No, not really actually. I'm still, I guess I'm surprised at Aston Villa being above Man City.
Yeah, I think that might have to do with the fact that City's XG in general has dipped this season compared to last season.
Yeah, for sure.
but I don't know how. That's probably due to the fact that they've lost a lot of creators as well.
Yeah.
So that might be the case, but it might go up.
Yeah, and Brighton being down at 8th is a bit surprising as well.
Yes.
They've dropped quite a bit the last couple of weeks, haven't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, that's the thing. That's why I was like, when we went to the fixtures, the Everton Brighton one, I wasn't sure how big that scoreline will be because they've been a bit hit and miss potentially. So that's attack and defense. Sheffield, Bournemouth, West Ham, third worst defense in the league in the last 6 game weeks. Luton, Burnley.
It doesn't feel great to have double West Ham defense when they're rated worse than Luton.
That's true.
Maybe I shouldn't have done that.
I don't know why we still have Ariola as keeper, but I think it's just for the save points at this point.
Save points, yeah.
And then obviously Arsenal, City, Newcastle, Spurs, and Everton. It's like your top 5 defenders. Fulham also there in 6th place, interestingly.
Yeah, Fulham higher than Liverpool.
Yeah, interesting. I'm not surprised with that, given that Liverpool only learned to keep clean sheets in the last 2 game weeks.
Yeah, they do look a lot better though. Like I would imagine moving forward, Liverpool are going to improve it on that table.
Yeah, that's true. Interestingly, perfectly timed with like Simicas being bought by a lot of people. Okay, so this is your team from Game Week 10. What are your spicy moves that you're thinking?
I don't know if you call it spicy, but I'm the move that I'm probably going to do, unless something changes with injuries midweek or whatever, is burn to Simicas. Ever since Robbo got injured, I've wanted to find a way to bring Simicas in. I haven't had the opportunity to do it until now, but now seems like a good opportunity to do it. I don't think I need double Newcastle defense right now. So the fact that Lascelles is pretty nailed for the next few weeks means that, I'm pretty happy to lose Burn.
Yeah.
Simicas seems to have a lot more. Yeah, he's got a lot more upside. So yeah, I'm excited about getting Simicas in, getting that second Liverpool asset.
Fair enough. And for those listening on the podcast, I'll read it out. So you got Ariola in goal, Zuma, Cash, Burn, who will become Simicas most likely. Then Bowen, Madison, Mitoma, Saka, Salah, Watkins, and Haaland. And on the bench, you got Turner, Lascelles, Archer, and Guehi. And Haaland captain at the moment as things stand.
That's right. Yeah, I'll probably play this week. I think I'll probably play Guehi over Zuma. I don't think I'm going to play double West Ham defense away to Brentford. But so Guehi, I think, has got Burnley, doesn't he? So yeah, this week I'll probably play Guehi in the starting lineup.
Okay. And then this is my team. So I've got Ariola, Simicas, Cash, Trippier, Saka, Gordon, Madison, Mitoma, Salah, Watkins, and Haaland. And on the bench, I got Turner, Gabriel, Lascelles, and Osula. I went Osula because I heard that he was going to be coming back from injury. And he was 4.3 compared to Mubama. So I was like, oh, maybe this guy might get some minutes once he does come back, because he did start and get minutes in the Sheffield team. So we'll see.
Yeah, that was before they got Archer though, yeah?
Yes. That is true. Yes, I think so. So we'll see. I don't know.
I'm not sure how many minutes he's going to get, even when he's fit, but
we'll see.
4.3, well, you can't complain.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think the team will be the same, except for the armband that might change. I know we spoke about Arsenal keeping a clean sheet, but if I was to start Gabriel, I did mention that preferring the attacker in terms of Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play Gabriel ahead of Gordon away from home.
Yeah.
Especially since Gabriel may or may not even start.
Yeah, I hope he does. I don't want to be in the same situation as people were in Game Week 1.
Yeah, as I was in Game Week 1. I started Game Week 1 with Gabriel and Stones, and it took me about a month to recover from that absolute debacle.
Yeah, so let's just hope that it was just a rest in and not a actual proper bench in.
Yeah.
So there is one final thing, which is the panel team, and I will bring it up for those on the stream as well. Go. Okay, so the panel team, we took a -4 based off current suggestions from last week as the guest. Although I think we did end up losing. Who did we lose? Oh no. Okay, I need to log in again. Give me a second. 2FA phone.
The joys of live broadcasting.
All right, give me a second to get this thing back up. I think we lost Embuemo on this panel team, which was a disappointment, I think.
Yeah, not the best timing.
Yeah, that's the thing. All right, let's bring it back up. We moved Gordon to Embuemo, but that was to fund Salah, so I guess it kind of worked out.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably didn't work out this week, but
Yeah.
long term, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. 77 points. It's a risky team, but it's like 1.9 million. So it's been playing a bit risky because we didn't have Salah in the team until like last week.
Yeah, right.
But this week, the team looks like this. I think we probably start Tsimikas over Porro.
Yeah. Oh,
potentially, or do you
would you start Porro over Gabriel?
Yeah, maybe because we have double Arsenal defense.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
just for the attacking upside. I think.
Yeah,
I think Porro's a good. Yeah, a good shout there.
Yeah, and then captaincy, Salah or Haaland can be risky in this one. So
yeah, I mean, if you want to be risky, then Salah is obviously the
more risky
the pick.
Yeah.
What we saw that chart with Luton's defense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would too risky for me. But maybe for this team, it's fine.
Maybe we'll see. I'll ask the other guys as well from the panel what they think about it in terms of captaincy. But in terms of transfers, we just have one free transfer with 0 in the bank.
Okay.
So I'm assuming, does the team look good for this week, or would you make a transfer?
Look, the team looks fine for this week, but I think if I was going to make a transfer, maybe Gordon. Like if you're just playing week to week, trying to maximize week to week. Yeah, I don't love the Arsenal fixture. To who?
Yeah.
Who've Wolves got this week again?
They've got Sheffield United prime fixture.
There you go.
Wang Yi-chan, probably.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay.
Even like someone really crazy like Douglas Luiz or John McGinn.
Yeah, but fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah, I like Chan.
Yeah. Okay.
Target Sheffield.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see what the others think about that suggestion as well. But the one thing with this team is it still has his wild card. Interestingly.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know when we're probably gonna play it like Gameweek 19 to target that City double.
No, that makes sense. And then you can dead end it for the City blank in 18.
Yeah, exactly.
And then and then load up on City for 19.
Yeah, that's most likely the plan with this team. So we'll see how it goes. But that is the panel team. And yeah, I think that is basically all we've got. So thank you, Andrew. Where can people find you?
I am FPL Point Break on X or Twitter. And then me and Pete, we do a podcast every week, FPL SideNet. So yeah, that's on Spotify and Apple and all of the places where podcasts are found. So check it out.
Awesome. And thank you all for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. And if you have any other further questions, just put them in the comments after this video is done, and I will answer them in the comments, because that also helps the YouTube algorithm. So just gotta hustle. So make sure to like, subscribe, and join the Discord. The link is in the description as well for the Discord channel for those who are watching. Thank you all, and thank you to Andrew as well. And we'll see you all later.